Special episode here today on the Utah High School Hoops podcast. I'm going to be going through my predictions for the championship game tonight between LCA and Cottonwood in 4A, along with looking at 5 and 6A. Got a special announcement about a really cool partnership with Verbal Commits, and also just thought I'd let you know that tomorrow I'm going to have head coach Bud Randall from Enterprise on. Enterprise won the 2A state championship, and we want to give love to all of the Utah high school hoops teams, mostly on the boys' side. I know, listen, girls basketball is incredible. My sister played girls basketball. I have daughters. I just don't have time to do it all. So there's a lot of really great girls basketball happening. Everyone go check out Prep Girls Hoops and everything that's happening over there. For all of that coverage, I apologize. I can't get to everything, but I will get to this episode of the Utah High School Hoops podcast. This is the Utah High School Hoops podcast, your source for sometimes informative, but always entertaining coverage of the Utah high school hoops scene, with your host, Adam Peak. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of the Utah High School Hoops podcast. I am your host, Adam Peak. And before we get into the 4A, 5A, 6A predictions, I want to take a really quick moment here to talk about a great partnership that's coming. If you have been following this for a while, you might remember when I had Brandon Goebel on. Brandon runs the JUCO Advocate Twitter page, and he also helps run the Verbal Commits page as well. And they came out with this incredible platform over at verbalcommits.com. And I went down a total rabbit hole looking at stuff. Who's committed where, who's got offers at what place. It's a place for coaches to be able to log in to see player profiles, to do outreach there directly to players. So my son AJ has his own profile up there. I was able to, even look at like schools with him and be like, hey, what are some schools you might be looking at as a sophomore? You can see if they've already, if they're recruiting a lot of JUCO kids. And so if you want to go to that school, perhaps you want to go the JUCO route or whatever it was. I don't know how you're going to get through the recruiting season as a player, as a coach, or as a parent without this Verbal Commits resource. I'm telling you, I mean, you can, but this will really help you level it up. I think I paid $100 for the year to be able to go through and check it out. But what's really cool is that you can get a 10% discount if you use promo code Utah, UTAH. Use that promo code and get 10% off your monthly or your annual subscription. That's verbalcommits.com. I'll have the link down in the show notes. You have to go check it out. It's awesome. Okay. So let's get to the matters at hand here. This evening, we have the 4A championship between Cottonwood and Layton Christian Academy. We also have the 6A semifinal games. We've got Corner Canyon versus Layton. Remember, Utah, pronounce your T's. It's not Layton, it's Layton. We also have, it's also Hurricane. It's not pronounced Hurricane. I'm so sorry. I hate to break it to you. Corner Canyon versus Layton, Harriman versus Lehigh, and then also the 4A championship, which is where I'm going to be. I'll be down at UVU, trying to make some videos and just watch some good basketball. So I'm excited to be down there. I'll start here with 4A. I did a kind of a 4A, 5A, 6A preview with AJ Jackson. Everyone go, if you're not already supporting and following Utah Ballers, he's got a bunch of stuff, including a really, really great competition for the summer that you can go sign up for. I'm sure he'll have some cool prizes and some leaderboards and stuff like that. So go follow Utah Ballers on Instagram, along with Hector Marquez. And Hector is a contributor to Prep Hoops and also Prep Girls Hoops. So go support both of those humans. And at the outset of the tournament, I said, I think Layton Christian is going to win it. And if you recall, I was the only one. Both Hector did his like Lemke mustache thing, and both Hector and AJ said that they had Dixie, and certainly most people did, right? And then Coach Ball and Snow Canyon came along, and almost even got here to the championship game. They lost by 3 to Cottonwood, which I was unable to go watch because I was at the 5A games. But I heard it was a obviously a closely contested game, and huge congratulations to the whole team over at Snow Canyon. They played great, and including the game against Dixie, which I watched. So we have Cottonwood versus Layton Christian Academy. I suspect that this is going to be a very physical game. Just watching the limited amount I've seen of both of these teams, yes, they're perfectly capable at scoring from the outside. You've got John Rosevier over at Cottonwood. Obviously, Chris Cox can step out and shoot it from the outside. Over at LCA, you've got Luca, you've got Otavio. Both these guys can fill it up pretty quickly. I think that LCA is going to be a little bit too much for Cottonwood across the board. I think that if I will say this though, I think if Tyron plays the way he played against Murray, and by the way, Coach Workman over at Murray had those guys prepared. That game that I watched, I did not get to watch the game against Green Canyon, but the game I watched against Murray, Murray had a game plan and they executed it. Murray probably could have pulled off the upset had some of their shots that were falling in the first half fall in the fourth quarter, but they played an exceptional game. Coach Workman and his whole team, his whole staff is to be commended for that. Isaiah Bay played great in that game, and if Tyron comes out tonight and plays the similar way that he played against Murray, I think he's going to be a really big X factor in this game. I think Alon and Chris, they obviously they have different games, but I think that they're gonna potentially equal each other out. And if Tyron could play the way that I saw him play at the Tart Classic, I think that's going to be the big difference here between a potential overtime game that is a bit of a toss up and a 5 to 10 point win for LCA. I think Tyron's going to show up. I really do. I think he's got that dog inside of him. I think he's going to be the difference maker here. And so I think LCA, if I had to, shake my magic 8 ball, I've got LCA. I picked him at the beginning. I've got him winning here tonight. Going over to the 6A quarterfinals, I wish I could be multiple places at once. If you've never seen the movie Multiplicity, you should, with Michael Keaton. It's great. I kind of wish I could do it, but I certainly can't. So we've got Corner Canyon versus Layton. Layton. It's fun. Let's see. So the 1 seed versus the 6 seed, you can throw all that stuff right out the window. This is a game that I think a lot of people were hoping would happen. I know both of these teams want to play the best teams. Brody played out of his mind against American Fork, but just Brody is not going to be enough, because this Layton team has shown the ability to show up in big games and find ways to win. KJ Miller, David Katoa, these guys are playing exceptional basketball. David Katoa might be the best two-way player in UHSAA basketball in the state of Utah. He just gets it done. He is a high impact player at both ends. He is, if let's say that he matches up on Brody, I think that's a matchup that you're going to want to watch for sure. And Corner Canyon is going to need guys to step up, and guys like Darrell and Noah and Brighton. These guys are going to have to step up, and they know it, obviously, right? Like, I'm not saying any secrets here. If again, kind of similar to Tyron, I think that they're going to. I really do. The thing that has impressed me the most about watching some of these games is I thought there would be a little bit more nervous energy. And we got that. Not even a little bit of it. The fourth quarter last night for Highland was tough. They got outscored 18-2. I thought there would be more of that across the board. And instead, there's just been a high amount of shot making, play making, even through 3 quarters. That's not a knock on Highland. Through 3 quarters, Highland was that team. And I thought that would carry out for Highland. I had Highland playing Alta in the championship. Obviously, it did not. but I've seen there's been so much of that, even at the 3A level, lots of shot making. I got to watch a lot of those games, obviously. Watching the Murray game, watching, Snow Canyon beat Dixie. There's just been a lot of high level basketball. And so I expect for these guys to step up for Corner Canyon. So I think Corner Canyon is going to get Layton. And I don't know. I have not watched Lehigh play that much. Obviously, I know about Cooper Lewis just from the stats, but I'm not like breaking down film or anything like that. I've watched Harriman play a little bit more, and that's probably my bias coming through more than anything because I mean, obviously Lehigh has a pedigree of winning championships, but I've got Corner Canyon, and I'm going to take Harriman to advance and play each other. If I recall, I think that's what I had predicted at the beginning. I'm pretty sure I predicted Corner Canyon was gonna play Harriman. Maybe I could be wrong. Roll the film back. I don't I don't know. But that's what I've got. That's what I've got here for 6A tonight. And then, I'll just kind of throw this out here for let's see here. Do they play Friday? Yeah. Olympus Alta is gonna be that's on Friday night, it looks like at 4:30 at UOFU. I mean, I think people I had, like I said, I had Highland playing Alta for 3 quarters. I thought I was correct. I still think that, obviously Highland was fully capable of winning that game. A few plays, a few different decisions happened in the fourth quarter, and Olympus is home, but they're not. And that's why the game is played, right? That's why you play for 4 quarters. And here we are. So Olympus versus Alta. Whew, this is a tough one because both teams, you saw sort of the good and the bad of both teams. Alta was down against Timpview and Olympus was down against Highland. And the reasons that they were down were a little bit of, just turnovers, bad shots, game plans to let certain players shoot who weren't making shots in those cases. And then the good side, which was, Jordy and Dutch showed up. Jordy had some incredible defensive plays in the fourth quarter, hit a monster three. And for Alta, it wasn't just in the second half, it wasn't just Jackson and Ace Reiser. Zach Pappy came through. Carter Doliak, I think, missed one shot in that game. And so it's gonna be a clash. It's gonna be a battle. I think we all know that these guys are gonna show up. But again, I had Alta, and I don't see anything about what happened against Timpview that's gonna make me think that I should change that prediction. By the way, Timpview is loaded. Everybody knows this, but Timpview is loaded for the future. Dean went head to head. You think about this. Just real quick here, I want to talk about Dean Ruckert. So this is Jackson Johnson's potentially his last high school game on the college court where he is committed to play college basketball. That guy was motivated to make sure that he did not lose to a sophomore, especially not get outplayed by a sophomore. And for the first half of that game, Dean, make no mistake about it, Dean was the best player on that court, both offensively and defensively. He put on a offensive clinic, finishing at the rim, hitting threes, step backs, pump fakes, crossovers. It was an offensive clinic. Now, shout out to Alta for making the halftime adjustments and doing what they had to do to come back and win that game. But they play one junior, I believe. I think they only had one junior and everyone else was sophomores. Timpview is they're not going anywhere, right? Highland is not going anywhere. These are two teams that are built for the next few years. I think obviously they wanted to get it done this year, but it didn't happen. And at the end of the day, one team is left standing and everybody else loses it. So, but there was nothing that I really saw in that game that made me think, yeah, I think that Alta is going to lose this game. Now, do I think that Dutch can go off the same way that Dean did? Of course he can, right? Do I think that Jordy can win the matchup against the Risers? I think he can. I mean, these guys are Jordy threw a couple of passes that I was like, I don't even know. Nobody saw that except for him. I think he's the only person on the court who saw that. He's got elite court vision. He is a pesky defender. He is a knockdown shooter. He's all the things. And so on Friday night, we are in for an absolute treat with Olympus versus Alta. But I've got Alta. I still got Alta. I still got Corner Canyon, and I've still got LCA. So those are my predictions coming up here. Everybody go check out verbalcommits.com. Use promo code Utah. You will not be disappointed. I promise you will not be disappointed in how much incredible information they have available for you there. It was shocking, the amount of offers that some schools have out for like 2026 kids. I'm like, it's an eye-opening thing to go learn about, to go check out. It's incredible to see how many JUCO players are playing in the D1 level. So everyone go follow Verbal Commits, go check out JUCO Advocate. And I'm sure I'll have a couple more of these episodes, and then I'm going to take a break for a while. I'll wrap it up. But it's been fun. It's been great. I don't even know how many of these. I'll do a few interviews, right? I'll try to get some coaches on. The Enterprise head coach, Coach Bud Randall, will be on tomorrow he's going to grab some players. I'll try to, get whoever the coaches are who win. I'll try to get them on. Got a couple of other college coaches lined up, but it won't be weekly for sure. Pretty much through the summer. I might come on when I feel like it, but it's been a great year so far. So we'll be wrapping it up here as the season wraps up. And then just kind of intermittently, if you want to be notified, please go subscribe. You can go to utahbasketball.net, put in your email address. It's free. All it does is just let you know whenever a new episode comes out. So that's the only reason to do that. Or you can go subscribe and follow on Apple or Spotify. The same thing can happen. Sweet. All right. Verbalcommits.com, promo code Utah. You won't be sad. LCA, Corner Canyon, Alta. Those are my predictions.